Most unfinished novels don't fail because of bad writing. They fail because of structure. That's difficult to accept, especially if you've spent months refining prose. But it's true. The problem is rarely talent. It's architecture. When a manuscript stalls at 40,000 or 60,000 words, writers assume they're blocked. They're not. They're structurally misaligned. A novel runs on escalation, irreversible decisions, shifting power, and rising cost. When those elements are weak or missing, the narrative loses propulsion, even if the sentences are beautiful. Here's what usually goes wrong. The protagonist lacks a binding desire. Wanting something is not enough. The desire must be costly. If your character can walk away without serious consequence, the story has no engine. The inciting incident fails to force commitment. An interesting event is not structural ignition. The story begins when a decision locks the protagonist into conflict. If nothing compels that decision, momentum never starts. The stakes do not escalate. Act 3 must be more dangerous than Act 1. If the cost of failure does not increase, tension plateaus, and plateau kills narrative drive. The midpoint changes nothing. At roughly 50%, power should shift. The protagonist should learn something that alters strategy or forces a new level of risk. Without that pivot, the second half feels like repetition. Act 2 becomes reactive. The character investigates, responds and worries, but does not decide. Stories move forward through irreversible choices, not cautious observation. The antagonist lacks force. Real opposition must actively counter the protagonist. Circumstances are not enough. Pressure must be intentional. The stakes remain abstract. Failure is vague. Loss must be concrete. Freedom, reputation, safety, love. Without specificity, tension feels theoretical. Scenes repeat rather than alter the situation. Every major scene must change the balance of power or increase cost. If nothing changes, nothing escalates. Subplots decorate rather than converge. If they can be removed without affecting the climax, they are ornamental, not structural. The climax relies on coincidence. The ending must emerge from earlier decisions. Surprising is good. Random is not. The emotional arc disconnects from the plot. Growth must influence outcome. If inner change doesn't shape resolution, the story fractures. And finally, there is no central dramatic question. Every novel needs a governing tension. If you cannot state it clearly, the structure lacks a spine. When these elements fail, writers feel stuck. They blame discipline, they blame confidence, they rewrite the first chapter. But the problem is rarely the sentence, it's the scaffolding. Atmosphere can disguise structural weakness. Strong dialogue can distract from escalation failure. World building can delay collapse. But without rising stakes and irreversible decision, momentum disappears. And without momentum, novels don't finish. Structural failure is not mysterious. It's diagnosable, and once diagnosed, it's fixable. If your manuscript feels stalled, don't rewrite blindly. Run a structural diagnosis. Go to NovelBuster.com and see exactly where your story breaks. Before you spend another 6 months revising the wrong thing, stop fixing sentences, fix the structure.